Hello, it's Father Rich coming to you from the Rectory Kitchen again, focusing on this image that we have here about faith. It shows a tree growing up through a rocky kind of cavern in a place you'd never think it could grow. And the caption says, faith doesn't get us around adversity, it gets us through it. And then there's a quote about being strong and courageous from Joshua, the scriptures. And this is the idea of faith. Against the insurmountables, essentially, and overcoming that is the focus of the article today for our walk through how the church has changed the world. The title of the essay, Whom You Must Resist, Firm in the Faith. And it highlights two individuals that stood up against one of the most, the biggest threats against humanity and certainly against Christianity and Catholicism in the 20th century, Nazism, Hitler, and the SS. And it focuses on two individuals that would be vocal in standing up against Nazism. And one of them, they start out the essay, one who was being basically executed because of it. He was the Chancellor of Austria. He was Catholic, and his name was Engelbert Dollfuss. And so he died in 1934 on July 25th, basically being killed by the heads of the Nazi party. And he, in the 20s, kind of realized and spoke out against and rejected the Nazism and the collectivism and socialism that went with it. But he knew that it had infiltrated fascism and socialism a lot of his country as well. So he actually dissolved parliament in 1933 and established the Patriotic Front. He got criticized a lot, kind of being called authoritarian and being a controversial figure. But this article really says that he's been misrepresented by much of history. Part of that was because he had initially worked with Mussolini, because Mussolini early on was opposed to Hitler, and so he tried to work with him to resist. And so obviously he's criticized for working with Mussolini, who was also a dictator, and for dissolving parliament. But he saw that as a way to protect and lead. He wanted to use he talked about using the Pope, Pius XI's latest social justice encyclical that was celebrating the 40th anniversary of Rerum Novarum, but by Pope Leo XIII, which was the kind of first Catholic social justice encyclical in the late 1800s, but that he wanted to incorporate the Pope's approach to not having this kind of total free libertarian capitalism that goes to one extreme, or the socialism and the collectivism of the other extreme that was being promoted by many in that day. And in this effort to do this, he obviously again resisted Hitler. And he would use a lot of the writing and the philosophies and the support of the other character we've talked about a couple videos ago, Dietrich von Hildebrand, who had come to Austria from Italy after being chased out of there, and then eventually, as we said at the other video, was exiled, essentially had to run to the United States to be protected. And as he made his way there, several times was almost kidnapped and wouldn't have survived. But he supported the approach of Dollfuss, and the two of them were kind of trying to support each other. And so interestingly enough, von Hildebrand would write a journal called The Christian Corporative State. That's the title that actually Dollfuss gave to him. But they were trying to develop their concept of this, a way to oppose and to provide this vision of Pius XI in a Catholic country and within the context of a Catholic political system. But obviously they never got a chance to live it out and incorporate it. But the vision was given nonetheless. And unfortunately, we know that others, and Pope Pius XII is accused sometimes of giving too much concession to Hitler and Nazism. but we know behind the scenes he did much to resist and to help people, certainly the Jews and all other people persecuted. Whether he could have been more vocal, that can be argued, but he did do a lot, to the point, remember, that the Jewish rabbi in Rome converted to Catholicism because of all the efforts of Pius XII and the Catholic Church. But nonetheless, they were two that were outspoken, and they gave up their life. They sacrificed everything to try to resist it. So we continue to pray that we as a church can be firm in our faith, that we can overcome such obstacles. And we have to think of how dire it seemed in Europe in the 20s and 30s as these movements, and then socialism took over in the Iron Curtain. But nonetheless, faith prevailed, and the church remains. So we celebrate that. We thank God for individuals like Dietrich von Hildebrand and Engelbert Dollfuss, who were willing to speak out about it. And we have to continue to try to let their spirit inspire us to resist, solid in our faith, and to know that the church will prevail in Jesus Christ. Thanks for joining me today. Have a great day. God bless.